Hey everybody, thanks for joining me here on this video as we take a look at the sports gambling industry and iGaming as well. We have DraftKings earnings coming up on Friday morning, and so I'll be listening to that call and probably doing a video over the weekend about how that goes and the outlook for DraftKings specifically. But right now I just thought it would be a good time to take out the Dan Marino jersey and do a video taking a look at the industry overall, as well as a little bit of a look at Penn National Gaming, one of the other companies I like in that space. So, when I think about crazy cat, when I think about the the investment opportunity in the sports gambling industry right now, we have a really great tailwind in terms of states looking for additional sources of tax revenue. We saw that begin already pre-pandemic with the legalization of marijuana, that whole process beginning and still continuing state by state. And I think we're seeing the same thing playing out with the sports gambling and the iGaming industry. So after the COVID pandemic, I think it kind of accelerated the urgency that the states were looking for in order to get more revenue. And you see this specifically in states where they border a state that's already legalized sports gambling. So, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and now you have New York, kind of moving it up the priority list because they have seen some residents cross the border to place their bets, and they don't want to continue losing that revenue. One of the other things, I look at when you think about this industry is kind of, you zoom out, and it's always good, in my opinion, to be on the side of human nature. And so I think if you had to look at the overall tendency of people to want to gamble, whether it's greed or excitement, whatever it is they're really kind of looking at or looking for on the kind of the internal human nature instinctual level, there's definitely that there. And so sometimes you just want to look at over the next, whatever your investment time frame, and for a long-term investment, you might want to say 10 years. Over the next 10 years, a lot of things are going to change, but something that probably won't change is people's desire for excitement and betting and getting in on the action. And so I think you're already on the right side of human nature. Then with the legalization process and state revenue that we talked about, you're then you have another tailwind, and so you have multiple things working in your favor, and then it kind of becomes something where then you start picking winners. And so that that's a little easier when you already believe that you're in an industry that's going to win overall. This is going to be another one of the cases, like I think the smartphone was, where people say the media pits the story of Google against Apple, and iOS versus Android. And really, when you look back, you would kind of have to say that they both won. You look at market share, you can look at profit, but if you look at stock price and overall winners and losers, you'd be hard pressed to say that either Apple or Google was a loser in that. And I think this is going to be similar in the fact that your top three would have to probably be FanDuel, DraftKings, and the third spot might still be open between Penn National Gaming and then whatever Wynn's doing. You could look back and they could all be winners, and depending upon when you entered and exited, some might do a little better, but I think everybody could win in this game. And it should be noted that FanDuel is not a public company right now, but I wouldn't be surprised over the next 2 years if they went public, they IPO'd, or direct listing, just went public in some way. So, or a SPAC. DraftKings went public through a SPAC. So, but you notice that the top four states in terms of population, we have California, Texas, New York, and Florida. None of those have legalized. So obviously you've got some big ones coming, the biggest ones coming. And so as this rolls out, you're just going to see, a continued interest, and revenue is obviously going to move up as the rollout continues. So if we want to take a specific look at one of the companies, Penn National Gaming, I think they represent a very attractive investment opportunity right now, as they have over the past 12 months. Right now, they are only in two states, Pennsylvania, and then I think they've been in Pennsylvania for less than a year, and Michigan for possibly a month now. Can't be too much more than that. So, um, CEO Jay Snowden, Penn CEO Jay Snowden, has commented that they will be in 10 states by the end of the year and 12 by the Super Bowl. So you look at less than 12 months from now, that's going to be 10 to 12x the states that they'll be legal in as compared to just like a month ago or the beginning of this year. So obviously things are tracking in the right direction. They already have the rollout schedule for 2021. I think they said basically every 5 weeks a new state should be coming online. And so what he has stated is that basically their goal is to be the top three in each state in terms of revenue or handle, and hopefully the goal number one in terms of profitability. So when you already have the CEO talking about that kind of plan, you know that there's the 10 to 12x increase just in states that are legalizing gambling coming up over the next year. And then obviously we know there's the opportunities all 50 states, and even if we don't get all the way there, I think it's going to be very difficult for the holdouts as they see their residents going across the border to place their bets, and they just realize whether they want to be for or against sports gambling. It's going to be hard to just allow that revenue to leave the state. So, we've got a lot of things going in the right direction for the industry and specifically for Penn National Gaming. Now, obviously, when you talk about Penn National, it's hard to not talk about Barstool. So, a huge part of the investment there, or the investment opportunity, is also kind of the media company attached, and basically the marketing company that they obtained when they bought. I think right now they have 36% ownership of Barstool. So that was in one of the first few months of 2020, I believe, and they already have a schedule that in 3 years, so 2 years from now, 2023, they will increase that ownership to 50%, and then they have negotiating rights for the rest of it. So that was the schedule when it first came out. But on the most recent earnings call that happened about, 3 weeks ago, Jay Snowden said in response to an analyst question that by the time the 2023 date comes where they can increase ownership to 50%, they may own between 50 and all of Barstool. So clearly, he's spoken out about the positive benefits of that partnership, and he has a plan to not just get to the 50%, but it's clear he wants to become sole 100% owner of Barstool. And so when you look at Barstool as a portion of Penn National Gaming, what you really see there is the marketing engine and the potential for the media company, and how that kind of expands the TAM and the size of the industry, right? So one of the huge benefits that Penn has through Barstool is the lower customer acquisition cost. You notice that with DraftKings, every couple months they come out with these exclusive rights where they are the official sports betting partner of, and then it's one of the the major franchises, right? Whether it's, I don't know which franchises that they have partnered with, but there's we're the official betting partner of, say, the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys are one that they've struck that deal with. You don't see Penn kind of racing to go behind them and get a different franchise. They're not even playing that game because they basically have the built-in cult-like fan base at Barstool, where when they launch in a new state, Dave Portnoy and some of his guys, Big Cat, and some of the other personalities, they rent an apartment or they go to one of the casinos for 2 weeks straight, and they just stream them betting, and you bet alongside them, and everybody's having a good time. Dave Portnoy goes out and tries the pizza of all the famous pizzerias in the cities of the new state that they're legal in, and it's just like this huge marketing campaign, this huge blitz, and it's very low cost compared to having to buy the rights to become a partner with somebody, which is more like an official press release thing. But the people who are gambling, I don't know if they really care about those things. So clearly, I mean, DraftKings is a smart company. They're not going to be doing that if there's no reason to, there's no return. But just if you don't have to do that and you still can get the fan base and the market share, that's a beautiful thing that increases margins by a lot. And that's why Jay Snowden can say, hey, we're going to be the top 3 in revenue, but number 1 in profitability, because he knows that he can acquire customers for less. The other thing that comes along with that is I think the media network of Barstool, right? So when you have Barstool, you have all the podcasts that they have. I think I don't follow Barstool closely, but I am aware that they are in the top 5, say, in a bunch of categories in podcasts, and so it seems like they have this big cult base, and wherever they Dave and the other major characters there point people to, they listen and they follow. So right now they try to estimate the size of the industry. Recently, I think last week on either Thursday or Friday, the analyst from Oppenheimer came out and he increased his price target for DraftKings, and he did that, he said, because the January data came in from 14 states, including Pennsylvania and Michigan, where Penn is at, and the revenue was higher than expected, and so his expectation was that DraftKings' share of that was going to either be stable or increase, and so they expect on the call this Friday for DraftKings to increase guidance and increase what they had forecast for 2021. But when asked what the size of the industry is, he said 11 billion for sports betting and then 5 billion for iGaming, which is, if you don't know, is just like if you grab your phone and you want to play some hands of blackjack or roulette, that's iGaming. And so some states are legalizing one but not the other, one at a time, but it seems like both of them are going to get legalized in each state because it's just the revenue opportunity. But the point is that I'm trying to make, I don't think you can really estimate the size of this industry right now, because you have to look at what is going to be created in a brand new industry where you're going from something being illegal to legal. The size of the industry as it stands is just going to be an estimate, but as people join this and continue betting and watch, you see the trend of the more people bet, the more they tune into the games. Even if the NFL, the NBA can say from time to time they see viewership down, people who are betting are watching more sports, right? And so that's a huge revenue opportunity for the leagues as well. So what you're going to see, in my opinion, is like a new viewer experience. So in a few years, you probably will be able to watch a game, and while the game is being played on the screen, instead of just the score and the traditional stats, you're going to probably be seeing bets right now. Will the next, on a baseball game, will the next pitch be a fastball or curveball, a strike or a ball? On a football game, will the next play be a run or pass, right? So they're going to increase the opportunities for you to bet within each game. You're not just going to have the over under or the point spread right now, right? You're going to see more like the Super Bowl, where there's a bunch of prop bets, right? You're going to have that in a traditional, like in a typical regular season game as well. And then what I could also envision is, instead of just the broadcast with your national broadcasters, you could probably be able to pick, whether it's through YouTube, Twitch, or I would say probably these Penn through Barstool and even DraftKings, FanDuel. They're either going to start or purchase a media company where they'll probably have their own channel, their own network, and you could pick a broadcaster who is on a real hot streak or specifically follows, the one of the teams playing. So imagine somebody who really is a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, and he can show that he's won 75% of his bets on this season. So you might tune into that particular broadcast, and he's saying, I've been watching all these games, and on third down, they like to do this specific play, and you can follow his lead or take the tips that he's given you and feel like you have like an inside track on some of these bets, right? So a lot of the gamblers would probably pick that rather than just going to ESPN and just getting the nationally televised broadcast. So I think the opportunities for revenue are going to increase. So the total addressable market and the size of the industry is bigger than what anybody predicts right now. But right now, when you look at Penn, you see, I think they've got about an $18 billion valuation. I don't know exactly where that goes, but two states right now, 10 by the end of the year, 12 by the Super Bowl, and over the next, say, 3 to 5 years, you're probably close to 50 states, 40 to 50 states. It's certainly possible for the stock price to triple, be a $50 billion company, or even more. Because, like I said, if they're having the media company attached, they're going to be monetizing podcasts, monetizing their channels. So, if you got a broadcast, like I was saying, where the guy from the Cowboys is doing the play-by-play or just giving you what the best bets are, chances are they're selling ad revenue on that as well. So they're having either commercials or sponsorships or some way to bring in additional revenue. And so I just think the industry as a whole will be taking giant steps forward as people feel better about betting as the states legalize it. I think that's a good primer, a good way to think about it. And we'll do a follow-up on this on sometime in the next week when we hear the DraftKings call. We'll get some more information. All right, so I appreciate the time, guys, and we'll be back at it soon. Thank you.